move on and talk about some of the changes that have come and with the stock market, especially brokerages like Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley and UBS have gone ahead and raised the target for their year-end targets for the US benchmark index, that's the S&P 500. The calls are largely fueled by the expectations of the soft landing from the US economy and growing odds of the Federal Reserve cutting interest rate this year. So yes, because of that, there's a change that we've seen in the targets by all these brokerages for the S&P index.
Absolutely, and action doesn't end here on Wall Street because investors will be closely watching AI titan Nvidia's earnings report slated to come out this Wednesday. Shares picked up momentum in pre-market trade. Consensus estimates showed analysts revised expectations higher ahead of the report, and bullish investors are also expecting the chipmaker's revenue and guidance to beat analysts' estimates by more than $1 billion. Now, analysts also suggested investors' expectations may be too high and could contribute to a big move in the stock price after the company's earnings announcement. Not just that, analysts have also bumped up their price targets as well when it comes to Nvidia.
Right, that was about the equities and the equity market in the US. But let's shift focus now and talk about what are the comments that have come in from Federal Reserve officials. They continue to maintain their data-driven approach at the cost of snooping hesitant. Officials continue to refrain from saying that inflation in the United States is headed back towards the central bank's target even after a welcome easing in the April print. What we saw is that Fed Vice Chair Philip Jefferson said that it is too early to tell whether the recent inflationary cool-off will be a lasting one, or as he referred to as the data as encouraging. Now, Jefferson described the policy as restrictive, declined to say if he expected the rate cuts to commence this year. Meanwhile, we also had Atlanta's Fed President Michael Barr said that disappointing Q1 inflation reading did not provide with the increased confidence. The US economy is slowing down, albeit at a glacial pace is what the word came in, and this should help the inflation continue gradually cool off. Moving towards that is what the word that came in. Other than that, we also had the Fed President Raphael Bostic, who said that it is going to take a while before inflation reaches that 2% direction. So yes, a lot of commentary from a lot of Federal Reserve members, and 2% target is what everyone is saying. That let's wait and watch for that.
Absolutely, definitely in a wait and watch mode, sounding a little bit hesitant and cautious. But let's move on then. And JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon has signaled investors on bank succession plans as his retirement is less than 5 more years. Shares closed almost 4% lower as Dimon said that bank will practice restraint on share repurchases and warned the investors about risks to the economic outlook. Dimon also added that he's cautiously optimistic due to ongoing geopolitical tensions and persistent inflation as well.
Okay, and tech giant Apple launched an aggressive pricing campaign in China, offering discounts up to $318 on select iPhone models. The discounting comes as the company seeks to defend its position in high-end smartphone markets, where it faces increasing competition from local rivals such as Huawei. While the highest discount in February campaign was 1,150 yuan, this time the discounts are up to around 2,300 yuan. Now, the steepest discount applies to 1 terabyte iPhone 15 Pro Max model, while other models also see a significant price cut.
All right, and that's the word coming in from Apple. But let's move over to look at the biggest talking point this morning. Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi has passed away in a chopper crash in East Azerbaijan province. The chopper carrying President Raisi and his foreign minister Hossein Amir Abdollahian had disappeared over a mountainous region. As a mark of respect, the Indian government has declared state mourning today across the country. Let's go across to my colleague Sumita Karir, who's standing by with more details on this chopper crash. Sumita?
As Iran mourns the death of its President Raisi, the world is watching the aftermath and implications of geopolitical equations and how they shape in the region. Now, there are a couple of reasons for that. Number first is the timing. This is coming during the Gaza war between Israel and Palestine, and we also saw some escalations and build-up between Iran and Israel. A volley of missiles were fired and exchanged between both the countries. Also, Tehran has been repeatedly accused of backing Hezbollah in the opening of the Lebanon front against Tel Aviv. Against that backdrop, this crash is bound to generate speculation. However, an official word from Iran is awaited. However, Israeli agencies have told the agencies that there is no involvement from their side. But will there be a larger escalation in the region? That remains to be seen. This is also important because the death of President Raisi is not only like to trigger a high-stakes political power struggle within the country, but it will also lead to some disruption of the delicate balance of power within the country, and it could also lead to emboldening of proxy groups in the Middle East. So that's about the geopolitical equations. Now, coming to the India question. Now, this crash comes a week after New Delhi signed a contract with Iran to operate the Shabaha port that was aimed at expanding trade with Central Asia. The US also reacted quite sharply to it, saying that there was a threat of political sanctions. President Raisi, remember, was elected in 2021. He was seen to be a hardliner, also seen to be a successor of Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He also pushed hard for nuclear negotiations to seek relief from US sanctions. But the big question that really looms large is, will his passing have a larger bearing on the overall region? Will there be an impact then on oil prices? And of course, the other factors. We'll, of course, be watching out for those.
Okay, that's all about that. Thank you so much for that, Sumita. But let's listen in to the Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri and what he speaks about the increasing R&D spends and addresses the volatility in the stock market. Listen in.
Now you must increase the R&D expenditure 10x by 2030. Can that be done? Yes, it can be done, and it will be done. That is the value of these, because when we start our third term, and I have no doubt that it will be a Modi-led government, then much of the ideas which are incubated, articulated here, they can be then implemented in practice. When you look at the stock market, it's a stock market which is booming. Okay. Now what you're looking at is a 1 week period. After June 4th, I mean, my message is India is where the action is now, and after June 4th, there will be even more enthusiasm about India.
All right, then that's the word coming in from Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.